I like to think I'm usually pretty understanding when it comes to new Rocket League updates. I may not agree with some of the decisions made, but I can usually understand the reasoning behind them. In a lot of cases, I end up disagreeing with what the community thinks and end up siding with Psyonix, who are, of course, the creators of Rocket League. In this case, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to side with Psyonix in this one. There are still some major issues that we're seeing pop up again and again when they release new updates. And today, I'd like to talk about that and hopefully either spark some change or at least some discussion that the developers can take input on. I want to be clear before I start talking about the negatives that there are a lot of things that Psyonix is doing right now that I actually really like. They're releasing a new game mode later this season that actually looks like a new mode so far. You guys already know a lot of the time when they say new game mode, it just ends up being a collection of mutators that we've already had access to for years. But this mode appears to be actually new. Like, it's not a joke this time. It's like a sumo mode by the looks of it, which is really cool. They've got a unique looking car that I still personally won't be using. You guys know I don't care about items too much, but they're starting to branch out from making a bunch of cars that look almost identical to each other. So it's a step in the right direction. They're fully committing to a specific theme for each season, which is great. The trailers still look amazing. The reason one had me a little confused, but we'll get to that. Point is, they're doing a lot of great stuff right now, and I don't want to downplay that. That's just not the topic of this video. So as you guys know, earlier this week was the start of free-to-play Season 6 of Rocket League. There were some cool trailers and everything. Most people were getting super hyped about it. It was just really exciting. But unfortunately, almost every time a new update like this is released, it's almost immediately followed by disappointment. Not every single time, but it's seriously something that Psyonix is known for at this point, and I'm not sure if they even realize it. Whenever an update for Rocket League is released, it never goes smoothly. There's always something wrong with it, and I understand that bugs happen with every game, but with Rocket League, it's clearly different. Let me start with this season and then explain how reoccurring this issue is. For this season, in classic Psyonix fashion, somehow for some players, their ranks were reset way lower than they should have been. And I mean like way lower, like ridiculously lower. It didn't happen to everyone, obviously, but it was in particular for some players that did their placements right after the season started. I'm not gonna lie, that would have been a pretty good April Fool's prank, like to just put everyone down in platinum for a day. But obviously, this wasn't on purpose. Daniel, the professional Rocket League player for Space Station Gaming, like one of the top players in the world, he started his placement matches down in platinum for some reason. Can you imagine like a pro player queuing into a match full of platinums? Like, how does that happen? When he finished his placements, he had worked all the way up to Champ 3 because obviously he wasn't going to lose a game at that rank. But he and likely many others got placed way lower than they should have been. Apparently a bit later, this got fixed. Everyone was put back to where they belonged, but they were also back to unranked with 0 out of 10 matches played. So they had to play all of them all over again, but luckily it was at the correct rank this time. I have no clue how something like that could happen. I don't know any other game developers that do this, but Psyonix is literally known for messing up completely unrelated things when they release new updates. It's a consistent thing that they've done for years. If you think about it, just last season, there were a couple of issues that arose. First one was the play again button that just didn't work properly when they first released it. I don't know why they released it if it didn't work. You couldn't leave the match after using the button at first. You'd just be stuck there, and you couldn't cancel the queue either. So you'd basically be forced to play a whole nother game if you hit it by accident, which was pretty easy to do. It took a few weeks for them to fix that too. In the season before that, there was the duplicate login bug where it would literally kick you out of the match for no reason. Like I can't think of a worse bug than that. Like that's as worse as it gets. Also on placements, there was a bug where it literally just showed everyone their actual rank before they finished their placements, which took out the whole grand reveal for where you would place after you were done. Pretty much just removed the fun of that. And the season before that, it was the tournament spectator bug where you just couldn't spectate viewer tournaments. There are Twitch streamers that do viewer tournaments multiple hours every single day, and they just literally couldn't do tournaments anymore. So those streamers, myself included, just couldn't host any tournaments for their viewers for like 2 months. Another crazy one, a couple years ago, they had a bug where the kickoff spawns on Champions Field just weren't correct. No one knows how that happened. Like everything they changed in the update had nothing to do with Champions Field or kickoff spawns. That took them a while to fix, and that's an actual competitive gameplay issue. There are so many more issues like this that were fine before, but they suddenly got messed up on updates that were supposed to be exciting. Even the black screen issue when you're trying to create a private match. That never used to be a problem before, but it suddenly became one a while ago, and they still have never fixed it. In fact, I don't even see it in their known issues list. These aren't just little things either, like, I don't know, the edge of a decal getting jagged or something. These are big issues that disrupt the user experience, and they're really obvious too. It makes you think, like, does Psyonix even test their game before releasing updates? It sounds like a dumb question, but if they did, you'd think most of this stuff wouldn't happen, right? I can't say I know what goes on internally for this stuff to happen, but it literally seems as simple as not testing your game before you release it. It would be surprising if there weren't any massive bugs on a new update. I would be a little more lenient on it if this was like a new common occurrence for them. Maybe they just like went through some internal order of operations thing that changed the way they test their game. But it isn't a new occurrence. Random game-breaking bugs have been a normal thing since Rocket League's release in 2015. There even used to be like massive physics bugs on some updates. That's literally the core of the game. Like, I don't understand how that could slip by testing unless there is no testing. And to me, from the outside in, it seems like they haven't taken any steps to prevent this from continuing to happen. So I've talked a lot about the issues they've been having for so long, but not so much about the solutions. Obviously, one solution is to test your game more before releasing stuff, but that's not very helpful. Something that I've seen brought up a few times is the idea of some sort of community council, like a group of content creators, pros, and people who are just generally active in the community at all skill levels, of course. This group would be who Psyonix runs ideas and upcoming releases by in order to gauge community interest. As a content creator, it is literally my job to interact with the community and make stuff about the game that people will like. I'm constantly getting inputs, making adjustments, talking with you guys in comments and Twitch chat. That is literally what I and many other content creators do and have done on a day-to-day basis for years. So when Psyonix releases a new map like this, it just makes you question, like, do they really know what the community wants? Judging by what they release, it doesn't seem like they do a lot of the time. Rocket League has a system going on where they release a new map with every season, and it really is a great thing. But the direction they're heading with it is not great, to say the least. The map they released with Season 6 is flat out horrible. It's just bad. It's bad. It's literally just a map that we already had, but with a filter on top of it that just makes it harder to see. That's it. No physical changes at all, other than taking the detail out of the ground. And you can tell it's just a filter because that filter goes right over top the nameplates as well. It like doesn't even apply to the map itself. What they did was take a map that already existed and just made it worse. I understand at the end of the day that saying this map is just a worse version of the original is a matter of opinion, but it's an opinion that almost everyone has, and that shouldn't be taken lightly. At that point, I think a lot of us would just prefer to not be in the game. I'm definitely one of those people. As you guys may know, the reason why a lot of this stuff that we're getting in game is so low effort is because they're working on the Unreal Engine 5 version of the game. So when Season 6 was released and it was an inevitable disappointment, it sparked a conversation about what do we really want here? Do we want low effort updates like we're getting right now, but with a sooner Unreal Engine 5 release? Or do we want higher quality updates, but with a later Unreal Engine 5 release? This kind of puts it in perspective. Psyonix has a limited amount of resources that they can put to work on whatever they want, and they're trying to distribute them properly based on their goals. And right now, that's definitely an emphasis on lower effort updates, but with a faster Unreal Engine 5 release. At least that's what I think. This is where the discussion really can be had, because I think we can all agree that these updates suck. I don't think anyone is arguing that these updates are actually good, but I bet a lot of you guys would be split if I asked, should they change anything about that? And part of the reason for that is because we don't know that much about Unreal Engine 5 yet. We know it's coming, they've confirmed that, but we don't really know what it's going to bring to the game, so it's hard to develop an opinion on it. For every hour they spend on making a current update better, they have to spend 1 hour less on the release of Unreal Engine 5. I definitely think there's a balance to strike with this. Like, I don't think you should spend all your time on current updates and then Unreal Engine 5 after, or the other way around, but you've definitely got to prioritize one or the other. So for this, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if anyone at Psyonix is watching, maybe they'll look at the comments too, and they'll hopefully get a better idea for what the community wants. I think they could spend a little more time working on current updates, because right now they're just doing like the bare minimum. Like, I can't imagine they spent more than a day on this new map. I've laid out everything I can about this issue, I think. Now I just want to hear your thoughts, and hopefully Psyonix does too. It's kind of understandable that they wouldn't want to directly ask the community about this, just because that seems kind of unprofessional. Let's all be respectful as always. Psyonix is obviously trying to do what's best for everyone. I really don't think emphasizing cosmetics is a money grab. I just think it's separate teams that are working on cosmetics versus actual in-game content. And that in-game content team is obviously split up between Unreal Engine 5 and the current game. But yeah, other than that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, as always, if you're not already. And I'll see you guys next week.